Mercury's transit into Aries from around April 30th to mid-May 2026 brings a noticeable shift in the way people think, speak, and act. It is essential to note that these interpretations are based on Sidereal or Vedic Astrology, which accounts for the approximately 24-degree difference with the tropical zodiac. Mercury is the planet of communication, logic, calculation, and daily decision-making. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, ruled by Mars, and it carries energy of action, speed, individuality, and directness. When Mercury moves into this fiery and impulsive sign, the overall tone of communication in life becomes faster, sharper, and more reactive. This is not a slow thinking or deeply analytical phase. This is a time when people tend to speak first and think later, and decisions are often made quickly based on instinct rather than careful planning. This transit becomes more intense because Mercury is not very comfortable in Aries. Mars and Mercury have very different natures. Mercury wants to analyze, compare, and reason, while Mars wants to act immediately. So Mercury in Aries creates a conflict between thinking and acting. As a result, communication becomes aggressive, straightforward, and sometimes harsh. People may become more honest, but also less diplomatic. Words can carry heat, and conversations can quickly turn into arguments if not handled carefully. This is especially visible in daily interactions, workplace communication, and online expression where impulsive replies and strong opinions may dominate. At the same time, this transit also has a productive side. It increases courage in communication. It helps people speak up, take initiative, and express ideas without hesitation. For those involved in fields like marketing, media, activism, sales, or public speaking, this can be a powerful period to push ideas forward. There is less fear of judgment and more willingness to take risks. Decisions related to business, communication strategies, and personal branding may happen quickly. The key challenge is maintaining balance between speed and accuracy. A major highlight of this period is Mercury's conjunction with the Sun in Aries, forming the well-known Budha Aditya Yoga. This combination enhances intelligence, awareness, and the ability to grasp information quickly. It creates a strong desire to express ideas and to be heard. Since both planets are in Aries, the expression becomes fiery and dominant. There can be a strong ego attached to opinions, and people may become less willing to listen to others. This combination can support leadership in communication roles, but it can also create friction in relationships if communication becomes too self-centered. The energy intensifies further after May 11th when Mars itself enters Aries, joining Mercury and the Sun. This creates a powerful fire combination of Sun, Mars, and Mercury in one sign. At this stage, communication can become extremely heated. There is a tendency for arguments, debates, and confrontations. People may feel restless, impatient, and easily triggered. This is a period where words can have strong impact, both positive and negative. It can be excellent for bold expression, competitive environments, and taking decisive action, but it requires conscious control to avoid unnecessary conflicts and impulsive mistakes. Meanwhile, other planetary positions also influence how this transit plays out. Venus is in Taurus, its own sign, which brings some stability in relationships and finances. This helps balance the aggression of Mercury in Aries by adding a layer of calmness and practicality in personal matters. Jupiter in Gemini supports learning, communication expansion, and networking, making this a good time to share ideas widely. Saturn in Pisces continues to apply pressure on emotional and mental stability, reminding people to stay grounded. Rahu in Aquarius adds a futuristic and unconventional influence to thinking patterns, while Ketu in Leo brings detachment from ego-driven expression. All these factors together create a complex environment, where communication is fast and bold, but still influenced by deeper emotional and karmic patterns. Another important thing to understand is that Mercury is a neutral planet. It does not have a fixed nature of being purely benefic or malefic. It behaves according to the planets it is associated with and the environment it is placed in. In Aries, it takes on the qualities of Mars, which means it becomes action-oriented, competitive, and sometimes aggressive. This is why during this transit, the surroundings and the people one interacts with become very important. Communication will reflect the energy of the environment. If the environment is positive and constructive, Mercury will produce productive results. If the environment is tense or negative, Mercury can amplify conflicts. On a practical level, this transit encourages quick thinking, bold decisions, and direct communication. It is a good time to start new ideas, initiate conversations, and take action on plans that have been pending. It is equally important to slow down when needed, especially in sensitive discussions, financial decisions, and relationship matters. The biggest lesson of Mercury in Aries is learning how to balance speed with awareness. It's crucial to recognize Mercury symbolizes communication influenced by surroundings, mirroring how conversations reflect one's company. In essence, Mercury's transit triggers curiosity regarding matters related to the sign and house it traverses, prompting information gathering and sharing, aligning with Mercury's fundamental nature to communicate and exchange knowledge. To assess the impact of this transit, it's crucial to consider your Ascendant and Moon signs. The Ascendant sign provides insights into the timing of life events, while the Moon sign reveals how you'll emotionally respond to these changes. Consider the position of your current Mahadasha Lord in your birth chart, as it can shed light on how these transits will influence the recurring themes of your current Dasha period. A more precise understanding of the impact of this transit can be gained by examining Mercury's Ashtakavarga score in Aries. Keep in mind that the effects of this transit will differ from person to person, contingent on Mercury's interaction with the planets in their individual birth charts, or its transit through the zodiac. It's also worth noting that individuals currently experiencing the influence of Mercury Dasha may feel the effects of this transit more intensely. It's important to remember that the effects of this transit will vary for each person. To understand how this transit may affect you based on your zodiac sign and the houses it transits, let's delve into those specifics. For Aries, Mercury is transiting your first house, the house of self, body, personality, and your overall life direction. This is a very significant transit for you because Mercury also rules your third house and sixth house in this chart. The third house deals with your communication skills, courage, short-distance travel, siblings, and skills with your hands. The sixth house deals with your daily work, health routines, competition, debts, and service. So when Mercury moves into your first house, it is literally bringing the energy of these two houses directly onto your personality and your physical self. From April 30th onwards, you will find yourself becoming very curious about your own identity and life path. You will want to know if you are on the right track, whether your skills are being properly utilized, and whether you are presenting yourself effectively to the world. There will be a strong urge to rebrand yourself in some way, to update how you speak about who you are and what you stand for. Mercury in Aries, your own sign, gives you the confidence to speak your mind clearly and without filters. This is not a time to be shy or to hold anything back. Now, the Sun is already in Aries and it is exalted here. This makes the Sun extremely powerful in your first house during this transit. The Sun is the natural significator of the soul, authority, and confidence. When Mercury joins this exalted Sun, it creates the famous Budha Aditya Yoga right in your first house. This is a strong indicator that your communication becomes very sharp, intelligent, and authoritative during this period. You are not just talking, you are making statements. People around you will notice a certain fire and clarity in how you express yourself. In professional situations, this can make you very effective at putting forward your ideas, negotiating, and asserting your point of view. You also need to be mindful because Mercury in Aries already carries an aggressive edge, and with the exalted Sun right next to it, there is a real chance of coming across as too dominant or dismissive in conversations. You might win the argument but lose the relationship. Keep that in check. Since Mercury rules your sixth house and is now sitting in your first house, there is a strong connection forming between your health awareness and your competitive instincts. You may find yourself analyzing your body and health more carefully than usual during this transit. You might research new fitness routines, dietary plans, or supplement regimens. The analytical quality of Mercury combined with the directness of Aries will make you want practical solutions. You will want data, results, and action plans rather than vague wellness advice. This is actually a good time to start those health habits you have been planning for a while. On the competition front, Mercury as your sixth lord in the first house is a powerful position for defeating rivals. You will be mentally sharp and quick on your feet, and your communication itself becomes your biggest weapon. If there are workplace conflicts, disputes, or situations where you have been facing opposition, this is a time when you can handle them with intelligence and precision. You will not back down easily, and that is actually working in your favor. Mars, your ruling planet, is in Pisces in your 12th house alongside Saturn until May 11th. This creates a background of hidden pressure, increased expenses, and possible physical fatigue. Mars in the 12th house is not in a comfortable position, and Saturn's influence slows energy levels further. While Mercury enhances mental sharpness, your physical energy may feel limited in the first half of the transit. It is important to prioritize rest and avoid overexertion during this phase. But then something very important shifts on May 11th. Mars enters Aries and joins both the Sun and Mercury in your first house. This is a powerful triple conjunction happening right in your first house, activating your personality, physical energy, and personal direction at an intense level. Suddenly, your physical energy comes back with full force. You become not just mentally alert but physically driven and action-oriented at the same time. The combination of Mars, Sun, and Mercury all together in Aries is textbook energy for someone who wants to fight, win, and leave a mark. If you are an athlete, activist, journalist, entrepreneur, or someone in a highly competitive career, the period from May 11th to May 15th is exceptionally good for pushing hard and making decisive moves. The same combination also brings the risk of your aggression in speech reaching a dangerous level. Arguments can escalate very quickly during this window. You may say something in the heat of the moment that you later deeply regret. The key is to channel this powerful energy productively into your work, your goals, and your ambitions. Do not waste it on petty conflicts or ego battles. Jupiter is currently in Gemini, your third house, and this is a very positive placement for you overall. Jupiter in the third house is expanding your communication abilities on a larger scale, giving you wisdom and depth in your thinking and expression. Mercury in your first house will naturally receive the influence of Jupiter from the third house, and this actually helps balance out some of the aggressive tendencies of this transit. It adds a layer of thoughtfulness and broader perspective to your sharp Aries communication style. This combination is particularly good for anyone involved in teaching, writing, podcasting, YouTube, or any form of knowledge sharing with a wide audience. Venus in your second house is a pleasant placement during this time, adding financial stability and warmth to your family environment. You may spend a little extra during this period, but it will likely be on things that genuinely improve your quality of life. Overall, this Mercury transit through Aries is a high-energy, mentally charged, and decisive period for Aries individuals. Use your sharpened communication for concrete goals. Rest in the first half. And from May 11th onwards, go all in on what you have been building. For Taurus, Mercury is moving into your 12th house, the house of losses, expenses, isolation, foreign connections, spiritual retreats, sleep, and the subconscious mind. Mercury also rules your second house of wealth, speech, family, and accumulated resources, and your 5th house of education, creativity, children, and intelligence. So when Mercury transits your 12th house, it is carrying the energy of these two houses into a zone that is largely hidden, private, and behind the scenes. This is not an outwardly loud or visible transit for you. It is more of an inward, reflective, and sometimes financially draining period. From April 30th onwards, you may find your mind going very deep into private thoughts, spiritual contemplation, or matters that you are not ready to share with the world yet. There is a desire to gather information quietly, to research without publishing, to think without speaking. Mercury in Aries in your 12th house also means your thinking has an aggressive, restless quality to it. You might be mentally very active but unable to properly channel that activity into visible results just yet. Ideas are brewing, plans are forming, but the 12th house does not like noise or rush. The best use of this energy is to write privately, plan strategically, or study something in depth that you will use later. The Sun is exalted in Aries and it is also in your 12th house right now. An exalted Sun in the 12th house is an interesting placement. On one hand, the Sun representing authority and ego gets somewhat dissolved in the 12th house environment. This can make you feel less assertive than usual, more introspective, or even slightly disconnected from the competitive outside world. On the other hand, this is an exceptional placement for spiritual growth, creative work behind the scenes, and any kind of work that happens away from the public eye. If you work in a hospital, research institution, behind the camera, in a spiritual organization, or in any setting that is away from direct public interaction, this period is highly productive for you. Since Mercury rules your 5th house of education and children, and it is now in the 12th house, there could be expenses related to your children or their education. You may be spending on their coaching, school fees, creative activities, or any personal development program. Similarly, your own creative projects may be consuming money at this time. A new course you are studying, A foreign connection related to education or travel for learning purposes is also possible. Keep track of your spending around these areas. Venus, which rules your first house and your sixth house, is currently in Taurus, your first house. This is Venus in its own sign, which is a very strong and stabilizing placement for you as a Taurus individual. This means your personality, appearance, and overall aura are working very well right now. Even if Mercury is busy in the 12th house creating internal noise, your external presentation is elegant and attractive. This is a good time for matters related to beauty, relationships, and personal branding, as long as you are not overthinking behind the scenes. Mars is in Pisces, your 11th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 7th house of partnerships and your 12th house. Having Mars in your 11th house with Saturn can create delays in income realization or some friction within your friend circle and network. There may be some old dues that are difficult to collect, or a collaborative project with a friend or elder sibling that is facing obstacles. Saturn and Mars together slow things down and demand patience and structure. Do not force results in your income or networking efforts during this first phase. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 2nd house, and this is actually a very good placement for your finances and family life overall. Jupiter expands whatever it touches, and in the 2nd house, it is expanding your wealth potential, your family bonds, and the quality of your speech and communication over time. With Mercury simultaneously in your 12th house creating some expense, there is a push-pull effect between income growth and outgoings. The expansion of Jupiter in the 2nd house will ultimately win out, but during this transit window you need to be careful not to overspend. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the Sun in your 12th house, the energy of the 12th house gets intensified dramatically. The 12th house is foreign lands, and this combination can bring either a sudden trip abroad, a strong desire to relocate, or a significant expense connected to something foreign. If you have any pending matters related to immigration, foreign work, or international connections, this window activates them with urgency. There can also be some increased restlessness or difficulty sleeping as 3 planets pile up in your 12th house. Avoid making impulsive decisions during this window, especially financial ones. Saturn is in Pisces in your 11th house and Ketu is in Leo in your 4th house. The Ketu placement in your 4th house can already create some detachment from home comforts or emotional security. With all this 12th house energy activating, you may feel a strong pull towards spiritual practice, meditation, or simply withdrawing from the world for a bit. Honor that pull. This is not laziness or avoidance. It is your inner guidance telling you that this particular window requires preparation more than performance. Rahu is in your 10th house in Aquarius, and this continues to push your career ambitions in an unconventional and ambitious direction. There is still a strong desire to achieve something significant professionally, but during this Mercury transit period, the 12th house planets are asking you to do the inner work first. Research your industry, study your competition, prepare your plans in private, and wait for a more externally favorable transit to launch publicly. Use this Mercury transit as a planning and preparation phase. The stage is being set for bigger, more visible action in the coming months. Rest, reflect, build your strategy quietly, and get ready to act when the right moment arrives. For Gemini, Mercury is transiting your 11th house, the house of gains, income, social networks, friends, elder siblings, ambitions, and the fulfillment of desires. Mercury also rules your 1st house of self and personality, and your 4th house of home, mother, peace of mind, and property. So Mercury is bringing your personal energy and your home-related concerns into the space of income and networking. This is one of the more productive transits for Gemini individuals, because Mercury, which is your 1st house lord, is moving into a house of gains and expansion. From April 30th onwards, you will feel a noticeable surge in your desire to connect with people, expand your social circle, build new professional networks, and pursue your financial goals with more clarity and sharpness. Mercury in Aries in the 11th house gives you an aggressive and direct approach to going after what you want. You will not be waiting around or hinting at your needs. You will be stating them clearly. In networking situations, you will be bold about putting yourself forward, pitching ideas, and making asks that you might have shied away from before. The exalted Sun is also in your 11th house during this transit, and this is a very powerful combination. The Sun in the 11th house in exaltation brings a lot of authority and visibility within your social and professional network. People in positions of power, government connections, or influential figures in your industry may become important allies during this time. The Sun-Mercury conjunction here, known as Budha Aditya Yoga in your 11th house, is very good for financial negotiations, salary discussions, income growth, and achieving the goals you have been working toward. If you have been trying to close a deal, finalize a contract, or get a raise or promotion, this is a strong window to do so. Since Mercury also rules your 4th house, there is an interesting dynamic where your home and family matters are getting linked with your income and ambitions. You may be thinking about investing in property, renovating your home, or generating income from real estate in some way. Conversations about financial security for your family will be front of mind. Your mother may play an important role in a financial or practical decision during this period. Communication with her may increase, and it will likely be practical and goal-oriented in nature. Jupiter is currently in your 1st house in Gemini, which is one of the most favorable transits possible for Gemini individuals. Jupiter in the 1st house expands your wisdom, optimism, and overall life quality. It makes you appear wise, generous, and knowledgeable to others. This Jupiter in your 1st house is supporting everything that Mercury is doing in your 11th house. Your thinking is expansive, your communication has depth, and the combination creates a person who is both strategically sharp and broadly knowledgeable. This is a very good combination for long-term financial and career planning. Mars is in Pisces, your 10th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 6th and 11th house, and Saturn rules your 8th and 9th house. Having both these planets together in your 10th house brings some intensity to your career environment. There may be extra pressure at work, conflicts with authority figures or bosses, or delays and obstacles in career-related matters. This is a time when hard work is demanded but recognition may be slow in coming. Do not expect quick results professionally during the first half of this transit. Things are being tested and restructured at the career level. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 11th house, it becomes a very powerful activation of your income and gains sector. Mars, your 11th house ruler, now enters its own sign Aries, which is also your 11th house. This is a very strong placement for Mars. Combined with the exalted Sun and sharp Mercury, this creates an extremely driven and goal-focused energy in your social and financial life. If there are any income opportunities that you have been pursuing, they can crystallize very quickly between May 11th and May 15th. Be ready to act fast. The same triple conjunction also brings the risk of arguments and ego clashes within your friend group or network. The aggressive Mercury in Aries energy can turn social interactions combative if not managed well. Someone in your circle may rub you the wrong way, or you may say something bluntly that creates unnecessary friction. Focus on your goals rather than getting drawn into group politics or interpersonal drama. Venus is in Taurus in your 12th house during this period. Venus in the 12th house can bring some financial leakages or expenses, particularly around luxuries, travel, or behind-the-scenes pleasures. It is a good placement for creative and spiritual work, but you may notice that money is flowing out a little faster than usual on comfort-related items. Saturn is in Pisces in your 10th house and continues to demand discipline and patience in your career. Whatever you are building professionally right now needs consistent effort and solid foundations, not shortcuts or quick fixes. Rahu in your 9th house and Ketu in your 3rd house are creating some turbulence around belief systems and communication. You may find yourself questioning certain long-held views or attracting people who challenge your perspective. Rather than being unsettled by this, treat it as an opportunity to sharpen and refine your thinking. Mercury's transit through your 11th house is actually helping you communicate evolving ideas within your network in a way that draws like-minded, high-quality people toward you. Overall though, this is a genuinely positive Mercury transit for Gemini individuals. Focus on income, networks, and ambitious goals. Push forward between May 11th and May 15th with maximum energy and full confidence in your vision. For Cancer, Mercury is transiting your 10th house, the house of career, professional reputation, authority, government, your boss, public image, and your father. Mercury rules your 3rd house of communication, courage, skills, and short travel, and your 12th house of expenses, foreign connections, isolation, and spiritual matters. So Mercury is bringing the energy of communication and skills, along with some 12th house hidden themes, directly into your career zone. This is a very important and active transit for your professional life. From April 30th onwards, there will be a strong focus on communication at the workplace. You will be very busy with meetings, correspondence, emails, reports, proposals, and professional conversations. Mercury in Aries in the 10th house gives your work communication a very direct, assertive, and no-nonsense quality. You will not be dancing around topics or softening your professional feedback. You will say what needs to be said, clearly and boldly. This can be very effective in negotiations, presentations, or any kind of professional pitch. It can also create friction if your boss or colleagues are not used to that level of directness from you. The Sun is exalted in your 10th house during this transit, which is one of the strongest placements possible for a Cancer individual. The Sun is your second house ruler, the house of wealth and speech, and it is exalted in Aries in your 10th house. This creates a very powerful career period where your efforts and your voice are being noticed and amplified. Authority figures are more likely to take you seriously right now. Government connections and official matters can move in your favor. Your professional confidence is high, and your ability to lead or direct others is stronger than usual. Combined with Mercury in the same house, this is a period of very effective professional communication and career advancement. Since Mercury also rules your 12th house and is now in your 10th house, there is a possibility of career matters that have a foreign angle. You may be working on international projects, dealing with clients or colleagues from abroad, or exploring job opportunities in foreign locations. There could also be some expenses connected to your career advancement, such as investing in professional development, buying equipment for work, or spending on travel for work purposes. Keep an eye on work-related spending. Mars is in Pisces, your 9th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 5th and 10th house. Having your 10th house ruler in the 9th house with Saturn is a mixed signal for your career. It suggests that karma and past actions are playing a significant role in your current career situation. There may be delays in receiving expected career results, or a situation where you have to put in extra effort before recognition comes. The 9th house is also the house of your father, and there may be some pressure or responsibilities connected to him or to a mentor figure during this time. Saturn alongside Mars slows things down but also ensures that what is built now is solid and lasting. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 12th house during this time. Jupiter in the 12th house is considered a very spiritual and expansive placement for your inner life, foreign connections, and subconscious development. While it may not give very direct material gains, it is quietly building your spiritual foundation and opening up opportunities in foreign lands or with foreign people. If you are working on any international project or studying a foreign subject, Jupiter here is very supportive. Financially, there may be some quiet savings happening in the background that you might not even be fully aware of yet. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 10th house, your career zone becomes extremely activated. Mars, your 10th house ruler, is now entering Aries and joining the exalted Sun and sharp Mercury. This triple conjunction in your 10th house from May 11th to May 15th is one of the strongest career activation windows for Cancer individuals in recent times. This is a window to make bold professional moves. If you have been waiting to ask for a promotion, launch a product, make an important public announcement, or take a leadership role, this is your window. Your confidence will be high, your communication will be powerful, and authority figures will take notice. Mars in this position also means your aggression in the professional environment spikes. Be careful not to get into a direct confrontation with someone very powerful at work. Your directness can be your strength, or your undoing depending on how you deploy it. Choose your battles wisely. Venus in Taurus is in your 11th house, which is very positive for income and social life. You may receive some financial gain or a gift through your network during this period. Rahu in Aquarius is in your 8th house and Ketu in Leo in your 2nd house. Be mindful of sudden unexpected expenses around family or personal finances. The Ketu placement in your 2nd house can also make you a little detached from financial accumulation, so be conscious about not letting money slip through your hands carelessly. Saturn is in Pisces in your 9th house, which continues to place karmic weight on matters of luck, dharma, and your relationship with your father or key mentors. Things in these areas may feel slower or heavier than you would like, but Saturn is demanding that you earn your luck rather than simply expect it. Keep honoring your duties and responsibilities, and the rewards will come in time. Overall, this is an excellent Mercury transit for Cancer individuals from a career standpoint. Professional visibility is high, your voice carries real weight with authority figures, and the window around May 11th to May 15th is truly exceptional for bold and decisive career moves. Step forward with intention and confidence. For Leo, Mercury is transiting your 9th house, the house of luck, higher knowledge, dharma, father, long-distance travel, foreign connections, mentors, religion, and philosophy. Mercury rules your 2nd house of wealth, speech, and family, and your 11th house of income, gains, friends, and ambitions. So when Mercury moves into your 9th house, it is connecting your wealth and income energy with themes of fortune, wisdom, long journeys, and higher learning. This is generally a good period for growth, learning, and fortunate connections. From April 30th onwards, you will feel a strong pull toward gathering new knowledge. You may want to study something deeply, travel somewhere for learning or exploration, connect with a teacher or mentor, or engage in discussions about philosophy, religion, law, or higher education. Mercury in Aries in the 9th house gives this thirst for knowledge an urgent and assertive quality. You will not be patient about learning things slowly. You want information, you want it quickly, and you want to apply it immediately. This is a very good energy for any form of self-education, online courses, research, or professional skill upgrading. The exalted Sun is in your 9th house alongside Mercury, and the Sun rules your 1st house of self for Leo individuals. Having your 1st house Lord exalted in your 9th house is an incredibly positive placement. Your sense of self-worth is high, your dharma feels aligned, and there is a natural sense of luck and divine support flowing through your life right now. The Sun-Mercury conjunction in the 9th house also creates a strong connection between your career or personal authority and your fortune. Opportunities may come through your father, through people in positions of authority, or through long-distance or foreign connections. Since Mercury also rules your 11th house of income, there is a very real possibility of financial gains coming through foreign sources, travel-related work, educational ventures, or connections with people from different cultural backgrounds. If you are in any kind of knowledge industry, teaching, writing, consultancy, law, or international business, this transit can bring some very tangible financial rewards. Communicate your expertise confidently and directly. Mercury in Aries ensures your message gets across without any ambiguity. Mars is in Pisces, your 8th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 4th and 9th house for Leo. Having your 9th house ruler in the 8th house with Saturn is a somewhat heavy placement. The 8th house is about transformation, sudden events, and hidden matters. Mars and Saturn together here can create some anxiety around luck and fortune, a feeling of uncertainty about the future, or some challenging news related to your father, a mentor, or a long-term plan. Property matters may also require careful attention since Mars rules your 4th house. Do not make any impulsive real estate or investment decisions during this first phase of the transit. Jupiter is currently in Gemini in your 11th house. Jupiter in the 11th house is one of the most classic placements for income growth and social expansion. For Leo individuals, this Jupiter transit is already working to expand your network, increase your earnings, and bring in genuine well-wishers and support systems. Mercury transiting your 9th house and connecting with this 11th house Jupiter energy means that knowledge, wisdom, and communication can directly translate into income and gains. This is a very favorable link between your 9th and 11th houses during this transit period. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 9th house, the level of activity, travel, and communication around higher learning and fortune increases dramatically. Mars entering its own sign in your 9th house, alongside the exalted Sun and Mercury, creates enormous energy around travel, courage, and direct action toward your higher goals. If you have been planning a long journey, a significant decision related to higher education, a legal matter, or a new philosophical or spiritual direction, this is the window when things move with speed and force. Your determination to pursue your purpose will be at its peak. Be aware that Mars joining the Sun-Mercury conjunction in the 9th house also intensifies the possibility of aggressive or heated debates around ideology, religion, or philosophy. You may find yourself in strong disagreements with people over beliefs, values, or worldviews. Pick your arguments wisely. Not every debate is worth your energy. Some discussions are meant to enlighten, not to win. Channel your convictions into meaningful communication rather than unnecessary conflict. Venus is in Taurus in your 10th house, which is a beautiful placement for career and public image during this time. Your professional presence has grace and appeal, and people in your field are drawn to you naturally. This Venus placement can also bring some financial gains or recognition through your career during this period. Rahu in your 7th house and Ketu in your 1st house are pushing you toward partnerships and collaborations while creating some identity-related reflection. There may be a sense that you are in a phase of figuring out who you truly are beyond all external labels. This inner reflection, combined with the 9th house expansion happening through Mercury and the planets, will ultimately deepen your sense of purpose and direction. Saturn in Pisces in your 8th house continues its long-term work of transforming your relationship with uncertainty, shared resources, and whatever you fear losing. What Saturn is teaching you through this transformation will prove to be invaluable in the years ahead. Overall, this is a deeply enriching and potentially quite fortunate Mercury transit for Leo individuals. Learn voraciously, travel if you can, communicate your expertise boldly, and trust the larger fortune that is moving purposefully in your direction. For Virgo, Mercury is transiting your 8th house, the house of transformation, sudden events, research, occult, hidden matters, in-laws, inheritance, chronic health issues, and the deep subconscious. Mercury also rules your 1st house of self and personality, and your 10th house of career and professional reputation. So Mercury, your 1st house lord and career lord, is moving through the 8th house, which is one of the more intense and hidden zones of the chart. This transit is not a surface-level event for you. It goes deep. From April 30th onwards, you will feel a very strong pull toward research, investigation, and uncovering hidden truths. Mercury in Aries in the 8th house has a very piercing, penetrating quality. You will not be satisfied with surface-level information. You want to dig deep, understand the roots of things, find the hidden patterns. If you work in research, investigation, finance, psychology, astrology, occult sciences, or any field that requires uncovering what is not immediately visible, this transit is excellent for your work. Your mind becomes like a surgical tool during this period, sharp, precise, and relentless. The exalted Sun is also in your 8th house during this transit. The Sun rules your 12th house of losses, foreign lands, and spiritual matters for Virgo. An exalted Sun in the 8th house is a powerful position for handling crisis, managing other people's resources, and demonstrating authority in transformative situations. It also means that the areas of your life being transformed right now are quite significant. Old structures may be falling away to make room for something more powerful and aligned. This is not always comfortable, but it is necessary and ultimately positive. Since Mercury rules your 10th house of career and is now in the 8th house, there is a strong possibility that your career is going through some behind-the-scenes changes, secret negotiations, or transformative shifts. There may be hidden dealings at your workplace, confidential projects you are involved in, or major decisions being made about your professional future that have not yet been announced. Mercury in Aries here gives you the mental courage to deal with all of this directly. If you need to dig for information about your career situation, you will not hesitate to do so. Mars is in Pisces, your 7th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 8th and 3rd house for Virgo. Having Mars in the 7th house with Saturn can bring some tension or seriousness into your relationship or partnership environment. There may be arguments with a business partner or spouse, or a heavy responsibility that you and your partner are navigating together. Saturn demands maturity and structure in partnerships, while Mars can create friction and impatience. Approach relationship challenges with patience, and without letting Mercury's sharp tongue add fuel to the fire. This is not a time to say everything you are thinking in a personal relationship. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 10th house, which is an excellent placement for your career. Jupiter in the 10th house expands your professional opportunities, brings recognition, and connects you with wise and influential people in your field. Mercury as your 10th lord is now in the 8th house, but Jupiter's presence in the 10th house ensures that the career foundation remains strong and is actually quietly growing even during this more internal phase. If your career involves research, counseling, transformation work, or deep knowledge, Jupiter in the 10th house is amplifying your reputation in exactly these areas. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 8th house, the intensity of this transit spikes considerably. Mars in its own sign in your 8th house alongside your 1st house Lord Mercury, and the Sun creates a very powerful energy for research, occult study, and dealing with joint finances or inheritance matters. If there are any legal matters related to inheritance, shared assets, insurance claims, or any kind of hidden financial matter, this window between May 11th and May 15th demands your attention and action. Do not procrastinate on anything in this domain. This triple conjunction in your 8th house also means your stress levels and the intensity of transformation in your life goes up significantly during this window. Be mindful of stress-related strain, especially due to mental overactivity and pressure, as the 8th house activation can increase internal intensity. The 8th house governs chronic and deeply rooted health matters, and with 3 planets stacked there, your body may be absorbing more pressure than it shows on the surface. Make sleep, hydration, and nervous system recovery a real priority during this time. Saturn is in Pisces in your 7th house, adding weight and seriousness to your close personal and business relationships. Partnerships right now are not casual or easygoing. They carry responsibility, obligation, and sometimes a heavy sense of duty. If you are going through a challenging time in a marriage or business relationship, Saturn in the 7th house is asking you to approach it with maturity and long-term thinking rather than reactive decisions. The good news is that Saturn here builds lasting bonds when the work is done properly. Venus in Taurus in your 9th house is particularly positive for dharma, travel, and a certain quiet grace that surrounds your overall fortune. If you have the opportunity to travel for spiritual or educational purposes, this placement supports it beautifully. Rahu in Aquarius in your 6th house is pushing you toward unconventional approaches to health and competition, and Ketu in Leo in your 12th house is spiritualizing your subconscious and detaching you from unnecessary expenditures and anxieties. Overall, this Mercury transit is deep, transformative, and intensely focused on what lies beneath the surface of everyday life. Use it for research, healing, investigation, and quiet preparation. This is not your time to perform publicly. It is your time to dig deep and discover what is truly there. For Libra, Mercury is transiting your 7th house, the house of marriage, spouse, partnerships, business relationships, public dealings, open enemies, and legal matters. Mercury rules your 9th house of luck, dharma, higher learning, and fortune, and your 12th house of expenses, foreign connections, and isolation. So when Mercury moves into your 7th house, it is bringing the energy of luck, wisdom, and some hidden or foreign themes into your partnership zone. This is a transit that puts a spotlight on all kinds of relationships, both personal and professional. From April 30th onwards, you will be very focused on the communication within your close relationships. Whether it is your spouse, a business partner, or someone you are in a negotiation with, conversations will become very direct and assertive. Mercury in Aries in the 7th house does not allow for vague or diplomatic communication. The natural diplomat in Libra will be somewhat overridden by the bluntness of Aries energy during this transit. You may find yourself saying exactly what you think in a relationship context, which can be refreshing and also somewhat jarring for the other person. Be mindful of tone. The exalted Sun is also in your 7th house during this transit. The Sun rules your 11th house for Libra individuals. Having the Sun in the 7th house is a complex placement because the 7th house is the house of the other person, and the Sun naturally seeks to dominate and shine. The Sun in the 7th house can bring interactions with strong, authoritative, or dominant personalities, especially in professional or contractual relationships, or it can mean that you are projecting a lot of confidence and authority in your dealings with others. In professional partnerships, this is excellent because it means the people you are engaging with carry significant status or influence. Government contracts, high-profile clients, and powerful business alliances can come to the forefront during this transit. Since Mercury also rules your 9th house of fortune, there is a very real chance that a fortunate connection, opportunity, or deal comes to you through a partner or someone else's introduction during this period. The 7th house is also about legal matters, and with Mercury here, any ongoing legal proceedings or contracts may see significant communication and movement. Review all agreements carefully. Mercury in Aries gives you the sharpness to spot anything that is not in your favor. Mars is in Pisces, your 6th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 7th and 2nd house for Libra. Having your 7th house ruler in the 6th house with Saturn is important context for understanding the relationship dynamics right now. There may be some health issues or service-related pressures that a partner is facing, and this creates indirect stress in the relationship. There could also be disputes with competitors or workplace rivals that require careful handling. Saturn here demands patience in dealing with obstacles, and Mars can make you want to fight back quickly. Wait for the right moment rather than reacting immediately. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 9th house, which is an excellent placement for fortune, higher learning, and dharma. Jupiter in the 9th house expands your overall luck and wisdom. This Jupiter transit is already quietly expanding your fortune, and Mercury moving through your 7th house is connecting your partnership energy with this growing fortune. This means that business partnerships, client relationships, and marital bonds can become a source of genuine financial and philosophical growth during this period. Deals struck now may carry long-term fortune. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 7th house, the partnership zone becomes extremely active and energized. Mars in its own sign in the 7th house is a highly competitive and assertive placement. You will not be willing to compromise easily in any negotiation during this window. If there is a deal that you have been trying to close, a partnership that needs to be formalized, or a legal matter that requires a decisive push, this is the window to act. Your confidence in dealings will be at its peak. This same energy in the 7th house means that arguments and power struggles in personal relationships can escalate during this time as well. If there are existing tensions with a spouse or partner, the entry of Mars into this already fiery conjunction will make conflicts more heated. Pick the battles that actually matter and let the smaller irritants go. The key is to stay conscious of your tone and your intentions in personal conversations. You can be direct without being harsh, and you can be firm without being aggressive. Venus, your 1st house lord, is in Taurus in your 8th house. Venus in the 8th house is a complex placement. On one hand, it can bring depth and intensity to personal bonds and financial matters involving others. On the other hand, it can create some hidden anxieties or a sense of unease around shared resources or intimate connections. Keep a close eye on joint finances, insurance matters, or any financial arrangement that involves another person during this time. Jupiter in Gemini in your 9th house is a wonderfully positive background influence that is quietly expanding your overall luck, wisdom, and philosophical understanding. This Jupiter transit is building something meaningful in your belief system and long-term fortune that will manifest more clearly in the months to come. Saturn in Pisces in your 6th house is demanding discipline and patience in your daily work and health routines, and it is also slowly resolving long-standing obstacles and competitive challenges. Rahu in your 5th house and Ketu in your 11th house continue to create some ambition around creativity and children, while simultaneously pushing for detachment around large-scale gains and social ambitions. Overall, this is a very active and externally focused Mercury transit for Libra individuals. Partnerships, deals, legal matters, and public-facing communication are all activated. Go forward with confidence, intelligence, and just enough care in your words to protect the relationships that matter most to you. For Scorpio, Mercury is transiting your 6th house, the house of health, enemies, debts, service, daily routines, competition, and obstacles. Mercury rules your 8th house of transformation, occult, and sudden events, and your 11th house of income, gains, and networking. So Mercury is bringing the energy of transformation and income into your 6th house of competition and health. This is a transit that is very good for defeating opponents, handling obstacles, and improving your health and work routines in a very calculated and strategic way. From April 30th onwards, you will become extremely focused on your daily work environment and the competitive dynamics within it. Mercury in Aries in the 6th house gives you a very aggressive and sharp intelligence in dealing with rivals, obstacles, and challenges. If there are competitors, enemies, or people who have been opposing your progress, this transit gives you the mental tools to outmaneuver them effectively. Your ability to analyze a competitive situation and find the weak points of opposition is very strong right now. This is a period where clever strategy and direct communication will help you overcome what has been blocking you. The exalted Sun is also in your 6th house during this transit. The Sun rules your 10th house for Scorpio. An exalted Sun in the 6th house is one of the classic positions for professional success through hard work and competition. The Sun here shines the light of authority and confidence directly into your 6th house of challenges, making you a formidable opponent to anyone standing in your way. In your career, this means you are not just doing the work, you are doing it with confidence and authority. Supervisors and leaders will notice your capability and dedication. Since Mercury also rules your 11th house of income, and it is now in the 6th house, there is a strong connection between your work and service and your income gains. The more effort you put in, the more direct the reward will be during this transit. This is a good period for freelancers, service providers, healthcare workers, legal professionals, and anyone whose income is directly tied to the quality and quantity of their work. Push hard on your deliverables and the income rewards will follow. Mars is in Pisces, your 5th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 1st and 6th house for Scorpio. Having your 1st house lord and 6th house ruler in the 5th house with Saturn can create some pressure around creative work, children, education, or speculative investments. There may be delays or heavy responsibilities in these areas. You may feel somewhat creatively blocked or frustrated with the pace of progress in a personal passion project. Saturn demands patience and structure, and Mars is trying to push forward. The tension between these two planets in your 5th house is asking you to be disciplined rather than impulsive in creative or speculative matters during the first half of this transit. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 8th house. Jupiter in the 8th house is considered a positive placement for occult knowledge, research, and inheritance matters. It also gives protection during transformative and challenging periods. For Scorpio, Jupiter in the 8th house is slowly but steadily expanding your depth of knowledge, your ability to handle crisis, and your connection to hidden or esoteric wisdom. Mercury in the 6th house working alongside this 8th house Jupiter creates a combination that is very good for research, investigation, and deep analysis as a professional skill. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 6th house, the competitive and health-focused energy of this transit reaches its absolute peak. Mars in Aries in the 6th house is one of the strongest placements imaginable for defeating competition and handling enemies. Mars is in its own sign and in the house of competition. Combined with the exalted Sun and Mercury, this triple conjunction in your 6th house from May 11th to May 15th is a warrior energy. If there is any conflict, dispute, legal matter, or competitive situation that you have been navigating, this is the window to deliver a decisive blow in your favor. Watch your health carefully during this period. With 3 planets in the 6th house and Mars being a planet of heat, you may experience issues related to inflammation, fever, acidity, or stress-related physical symptoms. Do not skip meals, do not overwork to the point of exhaustion, and stay hydrated. The 6th house also governs daily service work, and with this triple conjunction, your work demands can peak dramatically during the May 11th to 15th window. Manage your energy wisely because burning out in this window will cost you more than you gain. Venus is in Taurus in your 7th house, which is a very positive placement for personal and professional partnerships during this time. Your relationships carry a certain warmth and stability through the Venus influence, and this balances out some of the intense competitive energy happening in your 6th house. If you have a supportive partner, they can be a genuine anchor for you during this demanding period. Rahu in your 4th house and Ketu in your 10th house continue to create some restlessness around home stability and career identity. There may be a sense that your career path is not fully settled or that your domestic foundations need some attention. These are longer-term themes that this Mercury transit is temporarily activating but not resolving. Jupiter in your 8th house is quietly working on your depth of understanding, your research abilities, and your capacity to handle major life transitions with wisdom. Over time, this Jupiter placement is making you genuinely stronger on the inside. Overall, this is a very powerful Mercury transit for Scorpio individuals in terms of overcoming obstacles, defeating competition, and demonstrating professional capability. Channel the aggressive energy productively into your service and work. Take exceptionally good care of your body, and let your sharp intelligence be your greatest weapon. For Sagittarius, Mercury is transiting your 5th house, the house of education, children, creativity, intelligence, past life merits, romance, speculation, and the expression of your talents. Mercury rules your 7th house of partnerships, spouse, and business relationships, and your 10th house of career and professional reputation. So when Mercury moves into your 5th house, it is connecting your partnership and career energy with your creative and educational zone. This is a particularly good transit for anyone involved in education, creative fields, or any kind of work that requires intellectual expression. From April 30th onwards, you will feel an almost restless intellectual energy. Your mind will be firing quickly, you will want to learn new things, express new ideas, and you will be hungry for creative stimulation. Mercury in Aries in the 5th house gives your creativity and intelligence a very bold, direct, and pioneering quality. You are not interested in safe or conventional ideas right now. You want to push boundaries, try something new, and express yourself in ways that are fresh and provocative. This is a great time for writers, content creators, teachers, coaches, students, and anyone in a creative or knowledge-sharing profession. The exalted Sun is also in your 5th house during this transit. The Sun rules your 9th house for Sagittarius. The 9th house is luck, dharma, and higher learning. An exalted 9th lord in the 5th house is an exceptionally positive placement. It connects your luck and dharma directly with your intelligence and creative expression. This means that during this transit, You are literally in alignment with your soul's purpose when you create, teach, or express your ideas. There is a sense of rightness and flow that comes when you put your intelligence to work this month. Your ideas carry strong confidence and alignment, making it easier to express them effectively and gain recognition. Since Mercury also rules your 10th house of career and is now in the 5th house, there is a strong creative dimension being added to your career. Whether you are presenting a major project, developing a new strategy, pitching a creative concept, or working on a product launch, this transit supports intellectual boldness in your professional work. People in your career sphere will be impressed by the originality and sharpness of your thinking right now. If you have been wanting to do something different or innovative in your career, this is an excellent time to start laying that groundwork. Mars is in Pisces, your 4th house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 5th and 12th house for Sagittarius. Having your 5th lord in the 4th house with Saturn can bring some pressure or seriousness to your home environment. There may be renovation work happening, heavy responsibilities related to your home or mother, or some tension between what you want to pursue creatively and the demands of your domestic life. Saturn slows Mars down in the 4th house, creating a situation where home-related matters need careful and disciplined attention before you can fully immerse yourself in creative or educational pursuits. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 7th house, which is a very significant placement for Sagittarius rising individuals because Jupiter rules your 1st house. Having your 1st house lord in the 7th house is a classic yoga for marriage, significant business partnerships, and very beneficial personal relationships. Jupiter here is expanding the quality and wisdom in your partnerships. If you are married or in a business partnership, this Jupiter transit is deepening and enriching those bonds. Mercury in your 5th house and Jupiter in your 7th house create a beneficial connection between your creativity and your relationships, suggesting that a partner may be supporting or inspiring your creative and educational work right now. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 5th house, the creative and educational energy of this transit reaches explosive levels. Mars in its own sign in the 5th house, alongside the exalted Sun and sharp Mercury, creates a person who is fearless in their creative expression. From May 11th onwards, you will feel an intense drive to create, produce, launch, or express something significant. This is a powerful window for any form of publication, release, performance, or creative launch. If you are a student, a creative professional, or a teacher, make your biggest and boldest moves during this window. Be careful about speculative investments and risks during this period, however. Mars in the 5th house in conjunction with Mercury can make you overconfident about speculative gambles. Avoid making large financial bets on the basis of impulse. The same energy that fuels creative boldness can also lead to reckless risk-taking in financial speculation. Channel it into your creative and intellectual work, not into gambling of any kind. Venus is in Taurus in your 6th house, which is a somewhat mixed placement. On one hand, Venus in the 6th house can bring a certain pleasure and ease to your daily work routines. On the other hand, it can also suggest some health expenses or a tendency to overindulge in comfort-related habits. Be mindful about diet and lifestyle balance during this transit. Saturn in your 4th house continues to demand patience in home matters. The heaviness of Saturn in your 4th house can at times make your home environment feel restricting or burdening, but this is a necessary phase of building long-term emotional security from a solid and honest foundation. Rahu in your 3rd house is amplifying your communication ambitions and desire to be heard on a larger platform, while Ketu in your 9th house is creating some philosophical questioning or detachment around traditional beliefs and spiritual practices. These are meaningful background themes that are asking you to develop your own authentic worldview rather than simply adopting what others have handed you. Overall, this is a vibrant, intellectually charged, and creatively empowering Mercury transit for Sagittarius individuals. Express yourself boldly, educate others generously, and let your natural intelligence shine without apology or hesitation. For Capricorn, Mercury is transiting your 4th house, the house of home, mother, property, peace of mind, vehicles, emotional security, and your roots. Mercury rules your 6th house of health, competition, and service, and your 9th house of luck, dharma, higher learning, and fortune. So Mercury is bringing service-oriented energy and fortunate themes into your most private and emotionally significant house. This is a transit that centers your attention on your home environment and all the matters connected to it. From April 30th onwards, you will find your mind very focused on domestic matters. There may be plans to renovate your home, discussions about buying or renting property, conversations about relocating, or simply a period where you are spending more time at home and becoming very aware of its condition and comfort level. Mercury in Aries in the 4th house gives these domestic thoughts a very direct and decisive quality. You will not be vaguely contemplating what to do about your home. You will be making concrete plans, researching options, and communicating your requirements clearly to whoever needs to know. The exalted Sun is also in your 4th house during this transit. The Sun rules your 8th house for Capricorn. An exalted 8th lord in the 4th house creates an interesting dynamic around property and inherited wealth. There may be matters related to ancestral property, family assets, or a sudden financial event connected to your home or mother that comes to the forefront. The Sun here also brings a lot of authority and confidence to your domestic sphere. You will be very sure of what you want in your home environment, and you will be vocal about it. Since Mercury rules your 9th house of fortune and is now in the 4th house, there is a possibility of fortunate real estate opportunities or property-related luck coming your way during this transit. You may find a very good deal on a property, receive information about a real estate investment that looks genuinely promising, or have a conversation with someone connected to property matters that leads somewhere beneficial. The 9th house energy of luck flowing into the 4th house of property is a very promising combination for tangible material gains in this area. Mars is in Pisces, your 3rd house, conjunct Saturn until May 11th. Mars rules your 4th and 11th house for Capricorn. Having your 4th house ruler in the 3rd house with Saturn can create some mental restlessness and friction with close people around you. Siblings, neighbors, or short-distance connections may be causing stress or requiring you to put in extra effort in communication and logistics. There can be delays in short-distance travel plans or some tension in relationships with people who are geographically close to you. Saturn demands patience and structure in 3rd house matters, and Mars is pushing for quick action and sometimes creating conflict. Be patient in communications with siblings and close associates during the first half of this transit. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 6th house. Jupiter in the 6th house is a good placement for health management, dealing with competition, and expanding your service capacity. For Capricorn, this Jupiter transit is slowly but steadily improving your ability to handle obstacles, expand your professional service quality, and defeat competition through wisdom and preparation. Mercury, as your 9th lord transiting the 4th house, connecting to this Jupiter in the 6th house, creates a link between your fortune and your ability to overcome challenges through careful home-based planning or preparation. This could manifest as doing research at home that helps you in a competitive situation. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your 4th house, the energy of your home zone intensifies dramatically. Mars entering its own sign and landing in your 4th house, with the exalted Sun and Mercury already there, creates an extremely charged domestic energy. This period can support decisive action in property or home-related matters, especially if prior planning is already in place. The confidence to act is strong, the information is available, and the energy supports decisive movement in real estate or home matters. If you have been delaying signing a property agreement, starting a construction project, or making a major home purchase, this window from May 11th to May 15th is favorable for taking action. This triple conjunction in the 4th house also means there can be arguments and tension within the family or at home. 3 hot and assertive planets in the house of domestic peace can create a very charged and sometimes combative atmosphere at home. Do not let property or financial discussions at home escalate into lasting conflicts. Communicate your position clearly but with enough care for the emotional tone of the conversation. Home is a space for restoration, not just strategy, and during this period you will need to consciously protect that quality. Venus is in Taurus in your 5th house, which is a beautifully positive placement for romance, children, and creative joy during this time. If you have children, spending meaningful time with them during this transit will be deeply rewarding for both of you. If you are in a romantic relationship, your 5th house Venus is bringing warmth and affection that can balance out the intensity of the 4th house triple conjunction. This is actually a good time for creative hobbies and leisure activities that restore your emotional energy. Rahu in your 2nd house and Ketu in your 8th house are creating some shifting dynamics around finances and transformative events. Rahu in the 2nd house can push you toward ambitious income goals but also toward overspending. Be conscious of both tendencies. Jupiter in your 6th house is slowly expanding your capacity to handle challenges and service obligations with wisdom, and this background influence ensures that the pressure you are facing is ultimately building your resilience and capability. Overall, This Mercury transit is a very productive and action-oriented period for home, property, and family matters for Capricorn individuals. Move decisively on domestic goals, protect the peace of your home environment, and remember that the strength you build at home becomes the foundation for everything else you want to achieve. For Aquarius, Mercury is transiting your third house, the house of communication, courage, skills with hands, short-distance travel, siblings, media, writing, and self-initiated efforts. Mercury rules your fifth house of creativity, education, intelligence, and children, and your eighth house of transformation, research, and hidden matters. So when Mercury moves into your third house, it is bringing your creative and transformative intelligence directly into the house of expression and communication. This is one of the most naturally comfortable transits for Mercury's significations, because the third house is all about what Mercury loves to do. From April 30th onwards, you will feel an almost magnetic pull toward expressing yourself. You will want to write, speak, teach, create content, pitch ideas, and share your knowledge with the world. Mercury in Aries in the third house gives this communicative urge a very bold, direct, and fearless quality. You will not be second-guessing your words or softening your messages. You will say what you mean and mean what you say. This is a very good time for journalists, bloggers, YouTubers, social media creators, writers, marketers, salespeople, and anyone whose work involves direct communication with an audience. The exalted Sun is also in your third house during this transit. The Sun rules your seventh house for Aquarius. Having the Sun in the third house in exaltation connects your partnership and relationship energy with your communication and courage. This could mean that a partner or important person in your life is playing a significant role in your communication ventures, or that your communication work is attracting important collaborators and partners toward you. There is a certain authoritative quality to your voice and expression right now that draws people in. In media or public-facing communication, you will carry natural gravitas. Since Mercury rules your fifth house and is now in the third house, your creative and intellectual energy is flowing very naturally into your communication channels. This is an excellent transit for creative writing, storytelling, content creation, and expressing your original ideas in a format that others can engage with. Teachers will find it easier to communicate complex ideas. Writers will find their voice sharp and confident. Artists will be more willing to share their work boldly without holding back. The fifth house energy of past life merit and natural talent is flowing through the third house channel of self-expression very smoothly. Mars and Saturn are in Pisces in your second house until May 11th, influencing finances and speech. Mars, as the ruler of your third and 10th houses, connects your communication and career with financial outcomes. Saturn's presence slows results, creating delays or pressure in earning through communication-based efforts. This may lead to frustration in the first half of the period, but it also teaches discipline and persistence. Staying consistent with your efforts is essential, even if immediate results are not visible. Rahu is transiting Aquarius in your first house, intensifying your desire for growth, recognition, and personal reinvention. This placement amplifies your drive to be seen and heard. Combined with Mercury in the third house, it creates a strong push toward building a public presence and making your voice impactful. There is ambition in your communication, and a willingness to take risks in expressing yourself. Jupiter is in Gemini in your fifth house. Jupiter in the fifth house is an excellent placement for education, children, creativity, and intelligence. For Aquarius individuals, Jupiter in the fifth house is expanding your creative and intellectual capacity beautifully. Mercury transiting your third house and connecting to this fifth house Jupiter creates a very powerful communication and creativity cycle. What you are learning and creating is reaching people and making an impact. This is a particularly good transit for teachers, coaches, and knowledge creators who want to build a genuine following or expand their educational reach. When Mars enters Aries on May 11th and joins Mercury and the exalted Sun in your third house, the communicative energy of this transit reaches its most intense and powerful expression. Mars in its own sign in the third house alongside the exalted Sun and Mercury creates a warrior communicator. You will be fearless in expressing your opinions, fiercely directing your messaging, and willing to take on controversial topics or have difficult conversations without backing down. This is exceptional energy for activism, investigative journalism, competitive presentations, or any communication situation where boldness and directness are needed. Be very careful of what you publish, say, or commit to in writing during this window. The combination of Mars, Sun, and Mercury in the 3rd house in Aries can lead to saying things that are regretted later. Aggressive communication can damage relationships with siblings, neighbors, or close associates during this period. Think before you post, speak, or send. Channel the bold energy into your professional communication work rather than personal conflicts. Saturn in the 2nd house can make family communication feel heavy or restricted at times, but it is also teaching you the value of speaking with responsibility and weight rather than carelessly. Venus in Taurus in your 4th house is a very pleasant placement, bringing warmth, comfort, and beauty to your home and family environment during this transit. This is a good time to invest in making your living space more comfortable, to have warm conversations with family members, or to simply enjoy the pleasures of home. Jupiter in your 5th house continues to expand your creative and intellectual capacity beautifully, and the combination of this Jupiter with Mercury in your 3rd house is genuinely one of the most productive knowledge-sharing combinations available to you right now. If you have any educational content, creative project, or platform that you have been building, this Mercury transit is the perfect time to push it forward with maximum confidence and clarity. Overall, this is one of the most powerful communication-focused Mercury transits you will experience in the near term. Use your voice with intention, use it with purpose, and make sure every word you put out into the world is something you will be proud of. For Pisces, Mercury is transiting your 2nd house, the house of wealth, accumulated savings, speech, family, food, values, and the things you hold most dear in life. Mercury rules your 4th house of home, mother, property, and peace of mind, and your 7th house of partnerships, spouse, and business relationships. So Mercury is bringing your domestic concerns and your partnership energy directly into your financial and family sphere. This is a transit that places a lot of emphasis on your wealth, your speech, and the communication within your family and with your close personal and business relationships. From April 30th onwards, you will be very focused on your finances. You will be calculating your savings, analyzing your spending, looking at investment options, and thinking very carefully about how to grow and protect your resources. Mercury in Aries in the 2nd house gives your financial thinking a very direct, assertive, and action-oriented quality. You will not be vaguely worried about money. You will want to find solutions, make moves, and take concrete steps to improve your financial situation. This is a good time for financial planning, budgeting, negotiating a better income arrangement, or making a financial decision that you have been postponing. The exalted Sun is also in your 2nd house during this transit. The Sun rules your 6th house for Pisces. An exalted 6th lord in the 2nd house is a very positive placement for income generation through service, hard work, and defeating competition. The Sun here brings authority and clarity to your financial matters. You will feel confident about your financial decisions, and your ability to negotiate, discuss money, and assert your financial needs is strong right now. If you have been wanting to renegotiate your salary, ask for payment that is owed to you, or make a financial case to someone important, this is a good window to do so. Since Mercury rules your 7th house and is now in the 2nd house, there is a significant connection between your relationships and your finances during this transit. A business partner, spouse, or close associate may play a key role in financial discussions or decisions. Money conversations within your marriage or partnership are likely to come up. Mercury in Aries will make these conversations very direct and to the point, which is actually healthy as long as the tone remains respectful. This is also a time when business partnerships can be financially productive. Deals and agreements made with partners during this period carry a very clear and assertive energy. Mars is currently in Pisces, your 1st house, conjunct Saturn. Mars rules your 2nd and 9th house for Pisces. Having both your 2nd house ruler and Saturn together in your 1st house is a very significant placement. It suggests that there is some physical and financial pressure that is being felt directly by you as a person. Mars and Saturn in Pisces in the 1st house can create feelings of being burdened, restricted, or frustrated by circumstances that are moving more slowly than you would like. Physically, this combination in the 1st house can also lower your energy levels or create some physical tension. Take care of your body and do not take on more financial obligations than you can comfortably handle during this first phase. Jupiter is in Gemini in your 4th house. Jupiter rules your 1st and 10th house for Pisces, and it is currently sitting in your 4th house. This is a very positive and stabilizing placement. Jupiter in the 4th house brings wisdom, expansion, and blessings to your home environment, real estate matters, and relationship with your mother. It creates a sense of inner security and peace even when external circumstances are demanding. For Pisces individuals, having your first house lord and career lord Jupiter in the fourth house means that your sense of well-being and your professional direction are both deeply rooted in your home life and your emotional foundations. This is a grounding and protective energy in the background. When Mars leaves Pisces and enters Aries on May 11th, something very significant happens for Pisces individuals. Your second house ruler Mars moves into your second house itself, joining Mercury, and the exalted Sun Mars is now in its own sign in your second house. This is a very powerful triple conjunction for your finances and wealth sector. From May 11th onwards, your financial energy and drive go up sharply. You will be more aggressive and decisive about pursuing income, collecting dues, making investments, and protecting your resources. If there is a financial deal, income negotiation, or money-related decision that you need to make, the window from May 11th to May 15th is a high energy and favorable one for acting on it. This triple conjunction of Mars, Sun, and Mercury in the second house of speech also means that your words can be very sharp and cutting during this window. Harsh words spoken in a family context or to a close partner during this period can cause lasting damage to relationships. Be very mindful of how you speak within your family and in your personal relationships. The second house also governs food, and with Mars here, be careful of overeating spicy or heating foods that could aggravate digestion. Saturn in Pisces in your first house continues to ask you to be patient and disciplined about your personal life and physical health. Venus in Taurus in your third house is a pleasant placement for communication, short travel, and interactions with siblings. Ketu in Leo in your sixth house is slowly burning away some karmic debts and enemies in a quiet way. Overall, this Mercury transit is a financially charged and speech-focused period for Pisces individuals. Plan your money moves carefully, speak thoughtfully, and leverage the powerful May 11th to 15th window for your most important financial decisions. As we conclude this episode, please keep in mind that these insights are based on the sidereal zodiac system used in Vedic astrology, which differs from the tropical system by approximately 24 degrees. These are general predictions. The real impact depends on your dasha cycles and your individual birth chart. For a personalized analysis or consultation, feel free to reach out. If you found this video valuable, please like, share, subscribe, and turn on notifications. And now, you can also hype this video to boost it within the community. Your support helps this knowledge reach more people who may benefit. Thank you for watching. Stay aware, keep learning, and keep shining bright.